Welcome to Cross the Water, y'all. Y'all know me, Jewel Princess Johnson, aka Cocaina, aka the dopest host on the East Coast. And today I am with the one, the only Mr. James Harris himself. Welcome to the show.
Hey, appreciate you for having me. How
L-
you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for opening up your platform to me.
Listen, thank you for coming to my platform because word on the streets is that you don't do these no more.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I did an interview.
It has been.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, for me specifically, it's been about 6 or 7 years. To bring this full circle, I think Jeremiah was in my arms. So my son, yeah, he was there today. So you talking about for sure full circle, 6, 7 years. Extremely proud of what you've done, what you've become. And so thank you for coming on the show today. We're gonna talk today about mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, guys. So this is the month where I need all my men, because today the show is about y'all. Y'all don't like being talked about, what we talking about y'all today. So I need all y'all, if you think you got something, if you know you got something, or if you need to go talk to somebody, this is the month where it's a safe space. Go ahead and do it. And if you need somebody and you in the Richmond area, he's available. Tell them where they can find you, what you do, where you at, where you gonna be at, and what you got coming up.
Yeah. So the easiest place to find me is, of course, my website, www.mentoheal.com, men2heal.com. And from there, of course, you can get my social media. My IG is at men_to_heal.com. And of course, YouTube is Men to Heal as well. Different videos that could be beneficial for not only men but for women who have men in their lives. You can share those videos to get insight for yourself. And also on my website too, it's a resource list for Black therapists and/or if somebody need resources, whether it's homeless shelter or crisis hotline or anything like that. So the website is the easiest place.
Okay. All right, y'all. Now look, y'all, we be right back with a dope interview. So y'all stay right there, stay tuned, listen to some music, and come right back here so you can get the information you need. Peace. All right, Mr. James Harris. So I do want to thank you for coming here and kicking it with me today, because this is definitely a full circle moment for me. So I can remember sitting in a space just like this about 6 years ago, where I was with a team, and you came in and kind of told us about your dreams, your aspirations, and what you were trying to do to this community. And I'd have to say, you've had to have exceeded what you were trying to do or far surpassed it. So before I even get into letting you talk about you, I'm gonna tell you that for shits and giggles, I Googled you. I just Googled your name and put, because James Harris obviously is a very common name. Yeah. So I Googled you and I just put James Harris, Richmond, Virginia. Okay. And I did not click on any one site. So I just want to share with you what came up. Okay. James Harris, founder of Men to Heal. James Harris, multiple entrepreneur. James Harris spends most of his days healing people, specifically men. James Harris, the Healing Hub. James Harris, filling in the gaps of mental health, and that's to name a few. Like, there weren't any other James Harris from Richmond on the page. And I also, just to, give you a little more, I also clicked it to see how far they went back, and they go back very far. So I'm a fan, but welcome to Cross the Water. And thank you so much for giving me this moment. For the progression.
Yeah, you the homie, so transparent moment. I haven't done a free interview in a while.
Oh, don't be telling me your interview free.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I haven't done one in a while.
I know.
Yeah, so to be here with you, and you just pointed out that we did one 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's dope. So I'm just happy to be here. I appreciate you opening up your platform to me, and hopefully the audience can gain insight and get some information that'll be helpful for not only them but the people vicariously around them.
Yeah, and I really want to jump straight into it because we don't have a lot of time. So now that I know what you do, or excuse me, what Google says you do. Can you tell me who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know who put that on Google, but
Everybody else, not you.
I haven't. I mean, I guess some of those are probably from excerpts from articles or television stuff that I've been a part of. But I mean, I'm fortunate that it's all positive stuff. You know,
I didn't see anything bad.
yeah, it ain't the gotcha page, well, nothing like that. So I'm fortunate. But for
'Cause
those
I would have
who,
said that.
yeah,
I wouldn't have left that off.
I feel you. I feel you. So for those who don't know, I'm James Harris. I am a husband, father, entrepreneur, and a therapist. Run a spot on Arthur Ashe Boulevard called the Healing Hub,
Yes.
which is I do my outpatient there. I got 3 other therapists there as well. Yoga, Zumba, mindfulness, feeding the less fortunate, different seminars for the community, LGBTQ, restoration of rights, voter registration, just so many different other things. And I founded a movement called Men to Heal, which focuses on men's overall wellness, their mental health, physical health, and of course, their emotional health. Because of course, it's important to get men back focused on just taboo topics and different things that society said they should shy away from. But you know, we want to end that stigma and make sure that they are connected with their family as well as other resources. And I'm also a member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay, come on.
Outside of that, man, that's me in a nutshell.
You in a nutshell. Okay. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Richmond,
Okay.
Creighton Court to be exact, you know, and they're turning that down. Gentrification is definitely a thing.
That is rampant. Oof,
You
it's
know,
on a-
so I'm happy that a lot of people aren't being displaced because they do got they got systems in place
Yeah.
now to where people aren't being displaced, you know. So they say I sit in on and talk with some of the city council people, so they have things in place. Now whether they're carried out or not is a different thing. But yeah, I grew up in Creighton, and then of course I moved around pretty much everywhere throughout the city because I was a ward of the state too.
Okay.
Foster care and group home and stuff like that. And I emancipated myself at 16. So
That's
you know,
a whole nother story. Right
yeah,
there.
just interesting life, man.
So how do you go from there to here? What was the journey like? We know you emancipated yourself at 16 now. So how do you go from being this kid from Creighton Court, ward of the state, emancipating themselves to literally a full circle, full functioning, beautiful man? Can I say beautiful man? Beautiful man.
Yeah. So, well, just based on that experience is what led me to do this work, I would say. I guess the start of it. So being a ward of the state, like in foster care and group homes, at that particular time, therapy was mandatory. And, you know, for me, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
Wait, is it mandatory for every kid or just
If you're a ward of the state, yeah. So,
Okay.
you know, for them, so for me, it felt like a check in the box opposed to addressing the actual events that could have led. Like for me, my situation was different. My dad died when I was 5. My mom got epilepsy, so she couldn't take care of us. Of course, the state had to step in.
Right.
But what about those children or people who, you know, were abused or, you know, was in a violent home and then had to, you know, so therapy would have or should have worked for them. But
Yeah.
again, it wasn't a pleasant experience. So for me, I just felt like it was something that I had to do, like moving forward and just wanted to be immersed in that work. And then, of course, when I joined the Army, it was the same thing. Like coming back from the 2 deployments, one Iraq, one Afghanistan,
Mhm.
I knew I was different and I wanted to be better for my family. But again, going to the VA, long lines, people don't look like me serving me. So I was like, oh man, this is something else I got to do. And that's part of the reason too why a lot of veterans tend not to get services because of just how the VA functions. So for me, again, it was like, oh man, it's
You
something I
needed
got to
something
do.
for you.
So just putting it all together, just thinking about that kid in that urban environment, thinking about the men who can benefit from it, and then just thinking about the veterans who can benefit from it is, you know, why it started and got into the journey. And it's been pretty decent.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you for
appreciate
your time for that. And thank you for the little boy that needed this.
Yeah.
Because none of this would have formed unless you hadn't gone through any of that. So so yeah, thank you. Now of course with that, it was a lot of education, a lot of training, a lot of titles, a lot of names. So you got a lot of little letters, not little, big letters, excuse me, behind your name. Can you tell me what they are, what they mean?
Yeah. So from the, I guess, clinical side or the therapeutic side, licensed professional counselor, which is a LPC.
Mhm.
And in order to be a LPC, you have to obtain a bachelor's. So I got a bachelor's in clinical psychology. Then I got my master's in clinical mental health counseling, and then of course you have to sit for the state test. But before you sit for the state test, you have to meet the requirements, which is, of course, grad school
Mhm.
and get 4,000 hours of practicum experience. So,
Okay.
so you
Phew,
work
4,000 hours.
4,000 hours. So you at this practice or this facility or whomever let you get those hours. And then sometimes it's difficult for people because if you're not in a position to where you can work a full-time job and still, it'll be extended for a certain amount of people. So I was just fortunate to be in a position of freedom and entrepreneurship that financially I was able to dive into getting my hours at a decent pace. And then, of course, after that, take the test, pass the test, and then you become licensed.
Okay. And that's on the clinical side. And what's on the other? Is there anything on the other side?
As far as
because you said that was the LPN on the clinical side.
Yeah, LPC, for the this as far as the clinical piece of becoming a therapist,
Okay. So what's the difference between actually let me take that back. We're gonna go to a quick break. Y'all can listen to some music. We'll be right back. I just want to know because we're edited.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, so so you're going about your everyday life and your balls are working great, and then you just decide we're no longer wanting children.
Yeah, so I mean, each individual is different.
I'm not talking about individuals.
For me, my personal reason was for I didn't like how the situation played out between my daughter, mom, and I. So I knew for sure I didn't want to introduce another kid in this world.
Okay.
And be under those circumstances. Yeah. So for me, that decision was an easy one based on that. Just the battle with the courts and battle with just how everything unfolded when that wasn't even her character, but it's more of a vengeance opposed to her
character.
Yeah. So and if she can switch and do this, I figured
anybody.
Yeah. So there's no point of me bearing children with somebody else. So no, I got fixed immediately after. After we divorced or whatever the case was, and but no, you don't snip your balls.
Okay, what you snip? The lining.
Yeah, it's something within your testicles, though. It's not like your balls are still intact. Everything is still intact. It's just the connection between producing sperm
and
yes, that part. So is cut and tied.
I mean, I'm a little uneducated. I mean, I figured we're still there. I'm not sure. I don't want radio to get us. So I'm not sure what I can and cannot say, y'all. So I'm sure the mechanics were still there. I just wasn't sure how it went. But I'm not in a. I can't say I disagree. Well, I can say I would have if I had married or dated you or whatever. That probably would have bothered me because I just know that any man I marry, I probably want to procreate with. But I think if you're a woman that's not on your radar.
No, yeah. So even for me though, like I've encountered women who I wanted children. I told my friend, all right, cool. Well, we can. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't.
We're not doing it. You're not doing it.
I'm not reversing.
So it's a hard.
Yeah, I'm not reversing that joint.
Okay.
It costs way too much to reverse it. So I'm not even interested in reversing it. And then, like I said, my youngest is 12 now. So I'm not about to start over. But fortunate enough for me, my current wife, her daughter,
she's beautiful, by the way.
18. So there's no way, and she was cool with not having kids either.
Okay.
So it just worked out. But yes, before her, dating and interacting with women, I let them know I ain't gonna, prevent nobody.
Yeah, absolutely.
From that. But yeah, if somebody
definitely let them know up front, it wasn't happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Look. Just to kind of bring this back, y'all. A few weeks ago, I did a episode on, like birth control, women, men, who was at fault if someone got pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And what I said on that show is that we don't have enough men talking about vasectomies. I don't know if it's a matter of we're ashamed to talk about it, but we're not having more conversations about the fact that you really don't have to put these women through all this turmoil for real. The abortions, the worrying about if they have birth control. You know, there's options for you as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think a lot of people are educated on the process, and it's men and women who think that you are
Cutting the balls.
Yeah, which is not true.
I didn't really think the balls were snipped, but I just.
So the procedure is super non-invasive too.
Okay.
And what is this?
Safer.
This is 2024. So I got mine in 2016.
Okay.
So just imagine how much more technology
it has gotten
and medical advances that happened within that 8-9 years or whatever. And it only literally I went in. They shaved the left side of my nuts.
Okay.
Told me count down from 100. I looked at the clock. It was 10:28 or something. I woke up. It was 32 minutes later. That's how fast it was.
Oh, wow.
No pain, no nothing. I was in the gym Monday. I just couldn't.
Oh, come on now.
I just couldn't squat and strain and stuff like that.
And probably have sex.
Yeah, you can't do that. But you do have to ejaculate a certain amount of cycles just to make sure that the sperm has died and hasn't passed through. But outside of that, it was a pretty seamless process. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I'm going to have you back again because you and probably some other men who've had vasectomies because I told y'all I'm bringing y'all these conversations that people are not bringing because we need to talk. We need to be educated about this stuff. The world is so big. We don't have enough information. So we're going to get into it. But y'all stay right here. Listen to some music. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to Cross the Water Podcast. And if you're just tuning in, we're here with Mr. James Harris himself. Do you go by middle initial because you got a lot of James Harris out there?
No, it don't matter.
I just wonder.
People are able to distinguish them based on what they're looking for. So,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you better pop your on this right here, period, because your James ain't his James. That's basically what we saying. Okay, so there's so many mental health professionals. You got therapists, psychologists. You can go to the clinic. What is the difference?
So it all depends. So if you're a doctor, meaning a psychiatrist or a psychologist, so a psychiatrist pretty much can prescribe medications. So, they do the evaluations for one to obtain medication. The psychologists, most of them do testing, but either one of them can have a caseload. Sometimes they don't because they prefer to just do testing or prescribe medication. You get a handful of them that do both, but as far as the LPC and the LCSW, that's who primarily is in the communities and or have a caseload where they see clients one-on-one or in a group setting.
Okay. So it sounds like to me the difference between the two is one is more hands-on than the other.
Yeah, well, all of them could be hands-on, but one of the major differences is, of course, the education, because to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist, you got to have a doctorate degree.
Okay.
So that's one of the major factors. But as an LPC, I can do testing as well. We can't prescribe medications. Of course, we can make recommendations, but outside of that, that's some of the major differences.
Okay. So let's get into the middle, the healing of men. Is there a difference between how you work with? Well, I don't think this is. I'm gonna say the answer is no. But is there a difference between how you work with men culturally, like how you would work with the black man versus how you work with the white man versus how you would work with the Hispanic man?
I think each client is different. So regardless of gender or ethnicity, you're treating that specific person, not necessarily them based on, unless
their culture.
Yeah, unless those factors are
their problem.
Yeah, why
they're there.
Yeah, so if they having adverse experiences based on that culture or that gender, then that's what we'll focus on. But for the most part, it's pretty much that individual, and each individual is different, just based on how we observe life. Different people got different resiliency levels, so what affect me might not impact or affect you in the same way, although we can experience it the same way. So all of those things matter in context too.
Okay. Is there a stigma attached to how the world perceives the mental health of men versus how they perceive the mental health of women?
I mean, I guess from a social standpoint, we can see that, in movies, we can see that in just daily life, social media, and probably in different friend groups. It is more socially acceptable for women to display certain characteristics
Mhm.
in the presentation of certain diagnoses and stuff like that. And it's not as accepted or warranted for men to display those same
But
barriers.
why? Is there a historical context for that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you can view it from a historical standpoint of just having to be tough and having to be in a situation to where you can't display certain emotions, which means you're not responding and reacting to things in a certain way. But also just if you want to talk about real history,
I love real history on this Across the Water podcast.
I mean, I don't know how controversial this podcast.
Oh, we go,
is.
babe. We from across the water.
All right, so
we go controversial. Let's
so
go.
across the water. Then just think about how many religions put pressure on the man to, and that's historic.
It is.
If you look at any religious context, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, any other of those books, it's pretty much the man is supposed to. But what if that man is incapable of? He still got those additional pressures, which means he's not, able to articulate or express himself in a certain way. So now he's carrying weight that he's not even ready for. And more from a historical standpoint, just from like the slavery, those days, that happens as well, of why people don't want to seek services, specifically men. There is a term called drapetomania. So if you're out there, you can look that up. But that's pretty much...
Say that again for me.
Yeah, drapetomania.
Drapetomania.
Yeah, so that is the disease of the mind, meaning the slave owners, had slaves, the enslaved people, thinking that it was a disease if they ran away. Why would anybody want to leave the plantation? Why would anybody want that freedom? So anyway, that's what that is. So from context, yes, it is a reason. So just think about all of those things, of why should I get services from somebody who don't look like me? Or
I feel that way.
Yeah, and it makes sense too. And it's so many other things too. Like,
but I don't think so. They're not capable. For me, it's more that I don't want to have to black explain to you. I just created a new word. We can go ahead and coin that, the hashtag or whatever. I don't want to have to black explain.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to.
Not only that too, though, the context of diagnoses and different group studies too. A lot of African Americans were excluded from those studies. So even if you are going to, from a historical standpoint, diagnose me with a certain diagnosis based on research or based on case studies.
I ain't even in the case studies.
My ancestors wasn't even in case studies.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I guess to answer your question,
yes.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a whole nother show in itself right there. Just to, woo, okay. All right. So you go through life now. You came from Creighton, Water State. Now you're emancipated. Go to the Army, obviously. Basically get your stuff together on a whole nother level. Begin building you, and then you write this dope ass. Can I say ass? Dope book. How do we get here? What was the to sit down, grab a pen to do this? What was the ode to self to get this done?
So I was tossing and turning one night, and my wife, she was my fiance at the time, maybe, or we was about to be engaged or something. She was like, "What's going on? Why you tossing and turning? You can't sleep." And then I was like, I think I'm writing a book. So I was just having thoughts of
the manifestations.
Basically, yeah. And then the next day, I just was in that plan mode. So I just started drafting notes in my phone. So all my free time within travel or within just being down and available, I decided to just dedicate to all of my free time. I just decided to dedicate to putting into the book. So, just taking notes. Like if I'm driving somewhere, instead of listening to the radio, I'm talking into my phone. And that's how it came about. But the origin of it, when I was thinking about it, it was because just how the movement was growing itself. A lot of people was hitting me in the inbox or sending me email or just was curious. So instead of me answering the question for one person,
you sent them the book.
I was like, yo, you know what? Let me just make this available for everybody, because some of the questions were, pretty much redundant and
Right.
just kept coming over and over, whether it was from a mom of a teen son or a wife, or a child who wanted to connect with their father. So some of the questions were redundant. So I was like, if I put it all in one spot,
They can just go get
everybody
it.
can do it. So, and it just took off from there.
What is your favorite parts about the book? And I'm pretty sure all of it, you wrote it, but by far, what is, to me, if you had to hand this book to a man who told you, I only have 5 minutes or 10 minutes to read it, where would you send them?
I would send them to, it's probably on Goodreads or either Amazon Review. But so it's pretty much an interactive tool. You can write out your answer, you can draw out your answer. There's over 65 different topics talking about grief, trauma, peer pressure, just so many different things that men often don't talk about unless they, in the barbershop or the mechanic shop or in the comforts of other men. But on my Goodreads or Amazon or wherever it's a review somewhere of a lady who was married 45 years. So she gifted the book to her husband, and she wrote the review. We've been married 45 years. This is the most he's ever talked about his feelings.
Wow.
And what she did was she gifted the book to him, but she highlighted a couple different chapters. So they talked over dinner or whatever the case is. So it was more of a experience opposed to him getting it and it felt like a chore.
Yeah.
But for her to write that, they've been married 45 years, and I just turned 38. So at the time I wrote the book...
They've been married longer than you've been alive.
Yeah. At the time I wrote the book, I was, 35 maybe?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just to have that as a tool for... and just to read that review was, gratifying in itself.
Okay. All right. So to the men who can't or won't, like, they're adamant. They're just like, listen, I'm not going to go talk to the lady or the man. I have to start saying the man now. What's your advice for them? So they already decided, listen, I'm not going to see anyone. I know that I'm a little, but I'm not going to see anyone. Do you have any advice for anyone like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, so I tell wives this all the time, and then those stubborn parents who got the teen sons and say fix them. I tell them the truth. I can't assist anybody who, one, don't see an issue with their actions, and two, don't want to change their actions. So if he's not ready and he's telling you he's not ready, you got to listen to him. But don't put yourself in a position, if you are that mom or that wife or that partner or that teammate or whoever, to be drained emotionally. If they're not ready, they're not ready. But for that person out there who should be ready or should take those necessary steps, if you don't want to do actual therapy, then there are some things that you can do therapeutic to ensure that you are, I guess, creating your overall wellness balance. So whether that's journaling, whether that's lifestyle choices, reducing the alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, and substances and stuff like that, reckless behavior, you want to stay away from those things. And you want to do more things like, eating healthy. You want to start journaling. You want to listen to positive music. You want to have affirmations. You want to have a strong support system. Just so many different things that you can make your life a better situation without having to go to therapy. But ultimately, therapy would be beneficial just because you got a non-biased person who can assist you with navigating some that you may not know how to deal with, like grief. A lot of people grieve and don't know how to deal with it.
I don't.
A lot of people have emotional outbursts and don't know how to regulate their emotions.
Sometimes I don't.
Yeah. Sometimes, because a lot of people aren't taught that.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things like where in school you go to math, you go to English, then you go to emotional learning class, and then you go to lunch. Nah, it's not really taught.
It's not.
You have to have a healthy dynamic in which you observe that, or you were taught that in some type of setting. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think sometimes it's in a way of people just being stubborn or not knowing, hey, it is somebody out there who can assist me with this.
Right.
And to be honest with you, just think about how many people who are numb and desensitized to certain things because they've been through it their whole life. So they think like this is
normal.
Yeah, but it's not until you go somewhere else and you realize like, oh man, they're not arguing with each other.
Right. This is a very productive relationship.
Yeah, what's going on here? Or, just oh, y'all don't fight each, you start to see like, oh man, I'm just in a situation to where I'm used to discomfort, or I'm used to somebody being cantankerous. Like, so, all of those things change once you start to see different things within life.
Okay. All right. So, and then one last question, we can go to a quick break. I want to come back and talk more about the book, though.
Yeah.
But so, like, I'm gonna call you a head doctor. Never mind. I didn't mean that way. And y'all nasty, and y'all know y'all are, but that's not what I meant. Okay. I'm gonna call you a doctor of the mind. Okay. How does that affect being married? Like, you always analyzing people.
I think that's a misconception.
Conception?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can't speak for other therapists or psychologists or whatever, but for me, just being true and authentic to myself.
Okay.
Like, I don't take work home, but I would say I am more aware of my emotions, as well as being aware of what my partner needs from me.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think I think that would be the same if I wasn't in this space, just being somebody who cares about other people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have to, like, you shouldn't have to deal with my stuff because I don't know how to.
Okay.
So I don't think, I just think, because like, even now I have a therapist. So even if I wasn't a therapist, I'll still be in therapy. So I think overall, me just being able to protect myself and to be in a holistic space where I am well enough to understand, like, my actions can affect other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think the bearing of me being in this profession carries over to my relationship. I don't think, you'll have to ask my wife.
I definitely ask. I'm nosy enough to do stuff.
But as far as our relationship, I'm human just like everybody else, but I ensure that I am attentive and, just do different checks throughout just to make sure we good.
Okay. All right, y'all. Look, y'all go listen to some music. We be back. We'll be right back because we got the power to be in the station. This is 101.1 The Fam, and my name is Princess, and we'll be right back. Y'all, welcome back. So if y'all are just tuning in, we're here with Mr. James Harris himself, author of Mental Health, founder of the Healing Hub, Richmond native. Probably, I don't like to say the letters, y'all. LPCN. LPCN. LPC. And then there's LPCW, right?
LCSW.
See? And that's why I want to say letters, because I tongue them up. But professional mind boggler, mind reader. What are mind analyzer?
Yeah, I guess that's a good one.
That was the last one. The last one was better. Yeah. But thank you so much for being here with us. Now, just a few more questions about just again the mental health of men, boys, teenagers.
Yeah.
Do you service all men? And are you male specific?
Not. So my practice is open to anybody. So I see children, I see couples, I see adults, whether you black, white, Asian.
Okay.
Pretty much my caseload is diverse. Everybody under the sun, So I've been in this field now over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in jails, I worked in group homes, I worked in private practice, I worked in schools. So a wide range of experiences. And then, like I said, the Healing Hub, I do have 3 male other clinicians on staff as well.
Oh, awesome.
I had a young lady, but she decided to go in another direction as far as her career is concerned. Mm-hmm. So now I think I'm going to just stick with
the men.
Yeah, just having a male-oriented practice.
I think men need a place for themselves. And I'm not a man, so y'all know I normally talk a lot more on this show. But one of the reasons I've been trying to be quiet is because I didn't want to interject my experience, because I really wanted to dedicate this particular segment. It's Mental Health Month. Shout out to you. And, anyone dealing with mental health. But I think that our men, they got it bad. And I'm not talking about having bad mentally. I'm talking about they don't have a lot of safe spaces. So me personally, as a woman, I would not be opposed to you saying this is a man's space and only they can come here to get what they need. And a lot of times it's a far different from what women need.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also a lot of women out there who say, I'm looking for a male therapist. So it's been pretty beneficial on that front too. I'm just fortunate enough that the practice is in a good place to where people are reaching out, whether
Yeah.
they, because I get a lot of referrals too of women saying, "Hey, my husband is looking," or "My son is looking," and then of course I get men saying, "Hey, bro,
You want to talk to her?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's in a good place. I think the misconception is like you have to go to your gender to get service, but some people too want the unbiased opinion. They want to hear like, am I tripping? What's your perspective on this? Or
I can see
how can I
that.
go a different way about this?
I guess I
So-
never had that perspective at all. Because my thing, like I said, even with the me, and when I say hard pressed, like I need a therapist that's a woman. She has to be black. They have to be black. I don't think they have
Yeah.
to be male or female per se. I just think in my lifespan, I've been fortunate enough to have, well, not fortunate, but I've just had black women.
Yeah.
So I've never.
I mean, I've had both too. I had men and I have women. As far as doing my treatment, so it's
Yeah.
all about preference. It's all about, I guess, their approach too. You want to make sure that you're in a position. But I think depending on the specific male, like I got a lot of athletes on my caseload, so for them,
Okay.
it probably would be difficult to see a woman just based on.
We don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, not only they don't know, but just from the male perspective, as a client, it'll be difficult for him to, you 6'5", close to 300 pounds, and you got this petite woman sitting across from you that's attractive and educated.
That's why I don't want male. See, look,
Yeah.
I ain't want to go there, but since you said it, that's why I don't do male therapists. Because you not about to come in here 6'5", fine and black, talking about something. How can I help you? You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
So, I mean,
I'm a
transference and
gal.
counter-transference is
I'm a
thing.
gal.
Yeah, but my point with that is like sometimes people would be less likely to open up because
To the
you
fine
would-
therapist.
Yeah, you would probably feel like so if he's there like we was talking about earlier, let's say he did have a situation to where it was erectile dysfunction or just any other like he's not about to want to open up to
To
her
her.
because in the back of his mind he probably feel like she'll judge him
Yeah.
or if he is attracted to her, that he now don't have a shot, which he probably didn't in the first place, or vice. Anything can happen, but in those cases, it's definitely beneficial for one to have that cohesive experience if the therapist, is that specific gender.
Okay. And last thing I guess I kind of want to leave with. Before the last thing I want to go to the game. I was under the impression that he also created an adult interactive game, guys. I don't have a copy of the game. I should have asked him to bring me one because I was under the impression that the game was just for couples. So it wasn't until today I learned it was not. And where can they find the game? What is it? Tell me a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
so the board game is called Cheesy Dates. It's for adults. It's not just for couples. So it comprised of a 18 by 18 board, which is the same size as your Monopoly board. It come with dice, it come with pawn pieces, and it come with 2 card decks. One card deck comprised of different date ideas because, sometimes people run low on spontaneity.
They do.
So you get tired of the bars and movies and stuff like that. So it's over 45 different date ideas. And the other card deck is comprised of different questions that came about within my time as seeing couples or seeing
Okay.
people who had questions about relationships. So it's questions in there on intimacy, finance, social issues, living. Just a wide range of questions that you can ask a group of people and or your partner. So you can play it one-on-one with your partner, or you can play it
With a group.
with your girls' night or your boys' night, or
Oh, I love that.
gifted to somebody who
We about to get
bachelor
it.
party or whatever the case is. And it's very direct as far as the questions, which is the premise of the game. Because, like I said, just questions on finances. A lot of people in relationships, you get in a relationship based on attractiveness, and adversity happened, and now you're not even compatible with this person
Right.
because they ain't hold you down in your time of need. You know what I'm saying? So it's a question in there. Some that happened within a session that I had. This couple have been married over 5 years. They had 3 children. And traditionally, like society says, the man, in this case, he put his wife through school. You know, she got her bachelor's. Boom. So 5 years of marriage, 3 children. She got her bachelor's, whatever. So now, after graduation, she had started her job or whatever, and he was like, "Hey, listen, I found this HVAC course. It's 6 months. I'm trying to chill, and
Yeah.
Her response is, "I'm not taking care of a grown man."
Wow.
So, mind you, like that's cool if that's your perception, but again, even if we just friends, you got to consider like, well, you did get me my bachelor's. But the fact
we'll
of
give and
5
take.
years and 3 children, all that.
Yeah, my husband could have went to school, especially if I had enough. Yeah, it's only 6 months. That's it, especially because it was only 6 months. My
And
husband
the
could have
potential,
went.
but think about the potential that he can have just
Once
on
the-
it.
yep.
Yeah. So, but even still, that was a character
great
issue that could have
question.
been overlooked. Had they asked this question
Had they
before.
played the damn game.
Not only
I'm
that,
playing.
but just having those questions when you are dating or courting. They probably wouldn't have been married if that question was posed. Hey, how would you feel if you had to take care of me? And then she probably would have said, "Oh, I ain't taking care of no grown man." And then they could have decided right then and there,
Mm-hmm.
And to me, in that instance, it wasn't like he was like, "I'm doing nothing."
He wanted to build himself too.
And like I just put all this money into your schooling. We doing good now, so let me chill on my job and get this 6 months out the way, get certified, and who knows how many extra doors that would open up. But anyway, yeah, it's different questions in there: finances, intimacy, social issues, just so many different aspects.
Well, guys, you can find the game everywhere. I know you have your website.
Yeah, so the website has all my information on it. But if you do want the board game, you want a shirt, you want a book, www.mentoheal.com, mentoheal.com. I do have a YouTube channel as well. The link is on there, and that would be beneficial if you do have a male in your life or if you're a male, you need resources. You can definitely send those videos and hear the insight. And of course, you can get the book and all my socials if you need to get in contact with me. And you also it's a resource list on my website as well if you do need a black provider or access to a homeless shelter or LGBTQ resources or different hotlines and stuff like that for suicide or whatever the case is.
2 things I want to mention. I want to thank you for every time you talk about your services, you say something about the LGBT community. I zeroed in on that. And every time you say it, you let them know that you offer it. I love that. So to my men, to my LGBT folk, comrade friendly. If you need some help, don't be hesitant to reach out. James, I want to thank you for coming to hang out with me. I bought these 2 books, y'all. So again, y'all make sure y'all get y'all. I'm gifting these to my 2 brothers. But I've also gifted this book. I'm not playing to about 4. Every time I meet a man that's a little, I be like, bruh, you should read this. Because I don't have many resources, I don't have a lot of friends, male friends like this, where I know that if one of my males are really struggling and they need the unbiased opinion, they can go and get some very, again, information that is backed by schooling, education, life, just overall good people. This is probably the only one male that I could send. And what better way because he booked and busy now, y'all, what better way to just, he ain't available. But you can just do this for $15, $20. Support our people. Can I give you a hug? Because I'm so proud of you. Like, seriously, I'm so proud of everything. I don't get my makeup on you. Y'all, James, you want to give me shout outs before you go? Because I know the baby's going to school. She just graduated. It's a lot going on.
Yep. She actually about to graduate in June.
Yes.
She'll be going to school in the fall.
What she going to? Did she say yet?
She got accepted to 4 colleges, but she's waiting on A&T.
A&T gonna do it.
Yeah, so that's her top choice. Spelman was my top choice.
Oh, is it Clark A&T or North Carolina?
North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
But she did get into Clark Atlanta too.
Okay. My daughter just got accepted to both, so I was ready to say she might got a little buddy.
Yeah. So, and then of course the 12-year-old. So I'm happy for both of them, man. They are just rays of energy, but they also are eclectic. They grown within themselves, and they want to help people, which is a
wonder
good
where
thing.
they get that from.
So, I'm fortunate. Yesterday, I was helping a 12-year-old. Well, I walked in on the 12-year-old writing a letter to her principal to start an environmental club. So,
Come on.
yeah, that's just so different.
That is dope.
And to be 12 years old, man, and just seeing the need for it at your school, just was dope. So she wrote about a page and a half, and I walked in like, yo, what are you doing? And so she read it to me, and I'm offering suggestions and tips, but it was pretty solid. And just to see her taking the initiative and got her peers involved. So today at school, that she had a chance to present that to the principal.
Oh yeah, we gotta do a follow up so we know what happened.
I want to know too.
Yeah, seriously, don't leave us off because we go back on shows and be like, remember what we talked about? So please don't leave us off that. Shout out to the young ladies doing their thing, the 2 queens you raising. I don't expect nothing less though, because you're a king, baby. I don't expect nothing less.
No, I appreciate that.
I'm proud of you again for everything you've accomplished.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put this clip in here, so just y'all stay tuned because the clip gonna drop in about 5, 4, 3, 2. With that being said, my name is Joy Princess Johnson, and make sure y'all don't cross that water unless you find something safe to do. Again, this is James Harris, Men to Health or Mental Heal.
Mental Heal.
Y'all get the books, okay? I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. James.